Now you might notice a slight difference. You might take a look at, say, Yo-Yo, who is walking with Keeper Chris right now, and Eleanor, who is hanging out with Keeper Megan. And you might say, well, Eleanor and Yo-Yo have two different colored coats, but they are black bears. Might have a little bit of mind blowing going on right now, but it is true, black bears don't have to be black in color. They can also come in cinnamon or brown phase, like Yo-Yo's coat of color has. Here in California, of the approximately 30,000 black bears that we have, most of them are going to have that cinnamon phase or brown coat. Which, if you think about it, a lot of times people confuse these bears for brown bears or grizzly bears. And typically the reason for that confusion is, well, first of all, it's our state bear. It's on our state flag, the grizzly bear. Additionally, grizzly bears did used to roam the state of California. However, it's been about 100 years since the last grizzly bear has been here. But if you take a close look at Yo-Yo, you can see, well, she's rather small compared to a grizzly bear. She is about 289 pounds. When she stands, like Eleanor is standing right now, she's about 5'4". Eleanor here is about 6'5". However, if you're a grizzly bear, well, you weigh closer to 1,000 pounds, and you stand about 8 feet tall. So significant size difference. But maybe you're thinking, I'm on a hike, and I'm looking at a bear from afar, not up close, so I can't tell the size. Well, you can look at their profile. You take a look at Yo-Yo again and Eleanor, you can see that they have a smooth transition from their neck to their back. There is no hump there. You take a look at the California state flag, the profile of a grizzly bear is on there. You can see there is a significant hump on the shoulders of the grizzly bear. Now, that is a unique characteristic to that bear, so it's a great way to be able to tell. Another great way to know is just, hey, if you're in California, you're definitely not looking at a grizzly bear. But if you are in a state where there might be more than one bear type, that's a good way to tell. Now, you might also be wondering, well, how did Eleanor and Yo-Yo get here? How come they're here at the Orange County Zoo? Well, both of them, unfortunately, were orphaned at a very young age. Black bears raise their young until they're about 2 years old. Mama takes care of the cubs. And then usually once she gets a new set of cubs, when her younger cubs are about 2, they go off on their own. Sometimes they follow mom for as long as they can for more free food. But these two, well, when they arrived here, they were both very young, just at different times. Yo-Yo, she's now 19 years old, but she was less than a year when she was found, which means she didn't have that important time with mom to learn how to be a bear. And Eleanor, she also was very young when she was found. She's now 5, but she was less than a year as well when she was found here in California, all by herself. Now, I know a lot of times we hear about stories on the news about bears that go through wildlife rehab and they get released. Typically, those are juvenile or adult bears or subadult bears that have already had that time with mom. They would be successful in the wild. Whenever a wild animal is not released back out into the wild, it's because it's been determined that animal wouldn't be successful, wouldn't be able to survive. And that was what was recommended for these two. And so they have their forever home here at the Orange County Zoo. And we are lucky enough to get that up close and personal look at these very impressive and intelligent animals. In fact, we can learn they're pretty similar to us in their diet. Black bears are omnivores, just like people are, which means they have a large variety in their diet. They eat a little bit of meat, maybe only 10%. They really like nuts and berries and fruits and veggies, and they really like to eat worms. In fact, I would say one of the favorite food of our two bears here that they seem to enjoy from their diet is avocado. So like most of us Californians, they love their avocados. Now here in California, I mentioned there are about 30,000 black bears, which means if you live in rural areas in the state, or if you go hiking or camping, you are likely to be in an area where these bears are. And there's ways to know if they're about. You can check the trees when you're hiking. If there's large scratches on the trees, usually that's going to mean that there are bears there. They're marking their territory, making big claw marks into those trees. You could probably smell a bear nearby, and you can probably even spot their scat, which is a fancy word for poop because it is rather large. Our bears here that are about 290 to 300 pounds, they eat about 4 to 6 pounds of food a day, sometimes even more, so you imagine the poop might be pretty big. And then of course, if you do see a bear, you just want to make sure you keep your distance. Just like all wild animals, they don't want to cross paths with us. And so if you do see a bear and you're concerned, you can just make yourself look really big and scary. A bear doesn't want to have that conflict, and they will likely turn and leave. All you have to do is just wave your hands above your head. You have a walking stick or a large branch, bang it on a tree next to you, make a lot of noise. If you have your cell phone, maybe you can play some music really loud on it. Bears don't like that, and then they'll turn and leave. Now it looks like our keepers are wrapping up their training session, so then I'm going to go ahead and step off of the microphone, and that way if you have questions, you can ask Chris, Megan, or I, and we'll go ahead and answer those for you. Thanks so much for joining us today at the Orange County Zoo.